Alright, so basically, okay, let's get to here. I start off, basic movement. It's pretty straightforward. Technically, side flipping right there is optimal, and there's also some other crazy movement, but, no point going for that. Yeah, that side flip hyperstrike's worth learning. I see so many people, including Torpedo, lose like 2 seconds to fumbling around there. And notice how, if you go and look at my VODs, actually no, none of them exist anymore, but um, I always did this exact same movement. It was always the same. It got me to there, and then I did that setup. So that's the quick run through. That's not a perfect one. Scotto has a 58 goal or 57 or something, but that's still a pretty good. I'm pretty sure this was like gold for me actually. Yeah, it was. Yeah, 1 flat 01. Um, so yeah, that's the gist of it. Just, that's how it should look. And now I'm going to show you my visual cues. To start with, the moment I load in, I wait for Ratchet to be, you know, just past this little thing here. I don't really look for that. I kind of just know how far you've got to walk before you can get a good side flip, no, wrench jump here. If you get it right, you can then single jump to get up there, or double jump, because you side flip to the right, preferably if you don't mess up your angle, and then double jump up here, and you're set. From there, you do the charge. I had to go the left there because I wasn't sure I'd make it. Charge, clip, strafe tap through. I aim for about here. You see how that just turns here? That's roughly where I aim. Then I do the side flip, obviously. Yeah, to do this side flip hyperstrike I was talking about, I'll show you the cue. So again, yeah, where this curve starts, that line is roughly where I aim. Okay, to get this trick here, you're going along this right side because if you charge along, this side from lower, then you can still charge there and it's fine. So I do charge along that, and as I approach the end of that slope thing that, my mouse is over now, that's when I do a side flip hyperstrike. And then you can charge out of that and you save like, 2 seconds-ish. Because, you don't have to fumble around bonking constantly. And here, what I do, I've just kind of learnt how far back that is. I go off this tree, especially when this terrain hasn't deloaded. You stay to the right of this tree, and, you go about this far back. You kind of just learn the distance back after a while. And there's like an invisible wall which starts about where this decoy is. You see how this decoy is literally sideways right now, even though it's already out? That's because the wall comes up a bit. So you got to do a decoy and then side flip. And if you're not quite high enough, I sometimes like to end it with a hyper strike just to be sure that I make it over on top of these slopes. You see, I land way up there. And then, again, a bit of an invisible wall. Basically based off these things which float in the air. That's roughly where it is. So you cancel just before that and then jump a little bit and you should be fine. Here you can go back through and then hyper strike and you make it, again, over invisible walls. Because how a lot of this terrain works, right? You'll have something like this. It'll come diagonally along with these trees, and then you'll have something randomly which just comes up like this. You'll have a bunch of trenches. So you just need to do it a bunch, and eventually you'll learn where everything is. So I'm just kind of pointing out my basic things. Again, this is the tree we use as a visual cue. And right about, here, I've kind of just learnt the spot. Again, train skip literally comes down to doing it a bunch, and you'll learn the spots. And everyone has slightly different visual cues, but this is where mine is. So back here, side flip, hyper strike, land, and that'll put you here. During that hyper strike and side flip, I turn my camera. This was a very YOLO setup, actually. The fact I went this YOLO when I was this far ahead with this much time save, really not smart. Like, I charged, like, the moment I unpause here. But yeah, you'll notice I'm a bit to the right, and I'm looking roughly this way. I cancel a bit later because I go far back. You'll okay, let me show you a thing here. Everyone has different setups. You see how far back I am from tree? That means I have to wait longer. But the benefit is like wait longer before throwing the decoy. But the benefit is that the decoy has a bit more speed, and I just found it a bit easier to time. Yeah, it means you start the second charge a bit later, but safely still, and that means you're still in a good spot that can, charge and not be nervous that you're gonna lose charge speed because you've charged too long in the air. So yeah, there. Cancel, charge, decoy, side flip, rhino, hyper strike, yada yada yada. Just in general, let's go further forward 5 seconds. When you're here, you can also use these as visual cues, and you'll also notice these tiny little specks. That's around the edge of the ring you need to land on. So as you charge, you notice more of them. Here, you see them all. So use this to time your jump. This first one you see is the outer edge, and then there's a bit, like, you kind of just learn how thick it is after a while. And that's the second edge that you go off. And, yeah, that's about where you're aiming to land. You kind of just learn how far you get. Switching to decoy there, switching to rhino from decoy there is pretty quick. Like a very optimal kind of time save. You don't need to go for that at a low level. Keep in mind though, if you're a little far forward or a little far back, charging can save you because you don't fall off the slope basically. So charging instantly there is pretty safe. When it comes down to it, you actually find yourself saving yourself from falling. But you don't want to overload yourself or overwhelm yourself with inputs at, a low level. Not low level, just the top level thing. So yeah, that's how you do this fight. And then you kind of just, you see that I cleared that very quickly. I'll just show you the boss fight again. It's actually important to learn this boss fight. So the moment you get in, your rhino's already out. You're gonna you hold back and tap a little bit left, and after you've done that, you jump so that your shield, gets the guys he goes past for sure. And you can tap left with your camera a little bit as well, so that you just definitely shoot him, and that means you get this very quick just health of the boss is just dead instantly, and that's Siberius. That's all the visual cues. God, what did I just do? Hopefully that was helpful. So yeah.